All right, on the bench, look what we have. A D-104 static, made in the United States. On a T-UP9 stand, a T-UP9 stand. And what a nice looking mic we have here. They just don't make them like this anymore. The old cliche, they don't make them like this anymore, but it's true. They definitely don't make them like this anymore. But like anything else that's starting to show its age, and basically, well, I wouldn't say lack of use, but yeah, starting to show its age. We got some really bad static, some really bad scratchiness, noise, if you will, when you key up. So putting aside the feedback, but that's sure sign of oxidation on the contacts on the switches. So should be a straightforward fix. You know, so I talked to the customer on the phone, and he says everybody knows when he's keying up because they can hear the static. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, this should be an easy fix. Just a matter of, you know, you got the contacts, the layers of contacts in there. And, you know, over time they just oxidize, they get dirty. And, you know, when you key up, it's going to come through on the audio. So we'll take the base apart and we'll clean up those switches. In some instances, I like to use two different types of deoxit products. So one is the cleaner, and then there's a fader F5, which is meant for, you know, faders, like on a equalizer or whatever, plastic to metal type of contacts. But I find that there's a lubricant in there as well, which helps with the switches anyway. So we'll clean it out first with some deoxit, with some, and then we'll go back with it with some fader F5, and we'll see how the mic sounds after. All right, so let me get this base apart here, and we'll gain access to the switches, and we'll just take a look at what's going on down in the base there. All right, stand by. All right, so it's open, and we can see here, this is what I was talking about when I came to the contacts. Get a little pointer here. So right in there, you can see these little buttons almost in between these, I'll call them leaves. And that's what actually makes contact for the receive, makes contact for the transmit. So yeah, so this thing can be operated two ways. You can actually push the tab that's on the base itself, or when you push the you can see that in here there's also a plastic piece when you push the button on the actual tube going up to the microphone element itself. So you can activate it two ways, but either way, no matter what you do, you're basically pushing down on these contacts. And you can see there's quite a few contacts in there. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's about 8 contacts in there. And over time, just like anything else, kind of like your volume controls on the potentiometers, those contacts will oxidize, and you get that scratchiness, you know, when you go turn your volume up or whatever have you. It's going to get scratchy. It's just how it is. So it's usually an easy fix. Usually it's just a matter of spraying the deoxit and just kind of, you know, working the switches or the pot or whatever you're trying to clean, working it back and forth. What you don't want to do is You don't want to take any sort of abrasive to these buttons. That is like a very, very, very last resort. And even then, you don't want to do that because then if you do that, you're going to find yourself always needing to do that. You're going to remove that coating that's on that button. And you're going to find that it's going to oxidize a lot quicker that way. Does it work? Yeah, it does work, but it's not the proper way to clean these contacts. All right, so what I like to use is deoxit D5. I mean, this is nothing new. Everybody and their mother uses this. It, you know, removes the oxidation, and this is what you want to use. There's contact cleaner. There's several things you can probably try. You can try maybe some alcohol, some denatured alcohol. You might even try like some like paint thinner on a like a Q-tip. Those all, you know, kind of work. But this, it's expensive, but you get better results with this, and I think it's going to last longer. There's that, and then sometimes, depending on the situation, I also keep this fader F5. So this actually, so it's exactly as it sounds. It's meant for faders, and especially where plastic to metal surfaces meet. That's what it's specialized for. But I find that you can actually use this instead of the deoxit D5, and it will actually, in some instances, depending on the switches or the potentiometers, this will actually work better than the deoxit D5, I found. But no matter what you do, so in a case like this, or like even in the Turner mics, which have a similar setup, I will first use the deoxit D5, let that sit, work the switch back and forth, you know, until, you know, whatever, until it sounds better. And then once I'm done with that, I'll go back and respray it with some fader F5. And this kind of leaves a little bit better lubrication, I think, in these situations here. So why don't we go ahead and just do that? And I'll keep the phone rolling. And what I'm going to do is disconnect this from the microphone test center. I'm just going to put a rag down because this stuff will go everywhere. And what you want to do is, can you guys see that? All right, you can see that. What you want to do is kind of get in between the buttons. So you just don't want to like spray it. I mean, it will eventually get to it, but you want to try to get in between the little buttons. So you want to put like little wedges in between all the little contacts, spread them open, and spray it that way. All right. And then work everything back and forth. It's pretty repetitive. There's nothing special to it. There's no mystery or intrigue to doing this. This is just how it is. And another good thing about this, any of the deoxit products, some of the other stuff can be really harsh, and you might find yourself like having some components kind of like just get eaten away by like some of the paint thinners or the alcohols or some of the other chemicals. I've never had to worry about any like plastic thing or like any composite thing getting melted or eaten away with this deoxit, any of the deoxit products. So that's another good reason to use deoxit rather than, say, like a denatured alcohol or a paint thinner or whatever, mineral spirits. So now if you have compressed air, now's the time to use it. If not, you can just kind of blow the excess off. That's good enough for me. So now, like I said, after I do that, I go back with the fader F5. Now, another warning with this stuff is, because it is flammable. So be careful when you're actually using this on like switches and stuff, because you know, a little spark and you can have an issue on your hands. So whenever you're using this stuff, you got to make sure that one, the unit is off. You know, there's no electricity going to it, and then two, you want to make sure that, you know, it's relatively dry. You don't want to have like little puddles of the deoxit, because then you might have a little fire in your hands, and that's makes for a bad day. So just a little caution. But let me spray some of this F5. A little goes a long way with this stuff, so you don't have to go crazy. You know, it's not like you're trying to put brake clean on a truck drum or something, you know what I mean? And you just use the stuff sparingly. But again, work everything back and forth. You know, open up the contacts. Just make sure everything is getting in between the buttons. Work it back and forth. Obviously, you don't need to be a savage with it, but, you know, just work it, you know, as if the switch was doing the work. That's all. All right. Open up some of the contacts. Make sure that stuff's really getting worked in there. Because what you don't want to do is, you know, have to take this back apart again and repeat the whole process. But that's really it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just blow this off and then put this back together. And that's it. You don't need, in fact, you really don't even need to blow the stuff off, but it's just to help remove the excess. But that should be good like that, you know. So let me get this back together, and then we'll test it out again. Yeah, we'll just take it from there. But that's really it. That's all you really need to do with these microphones. This also applies to the Turner style microphones, where you're going to have like these little leaflet style contacts with the little buttons. You know, you can, but I find that for some reason the Turners are not as scratchy and noisy. I don't know if they use a different type of material on the buttons themselves, but I have noticed I find myself cleaning more of the D-104 contacts with this style type of switching than the Turners. I don't know why. It's just what it is. But anyway, let me get this back together, and then we'll test it, and we'll see if that scratchiness is gone. All right, stand by. All right, so it's back together. Battery's back in. But these are easy to work on relatively. Yeah, I'll adjust. I got this adjustment here about halfway. He also has a Washington that's here for some service and some modifications, but I'll tune this after to the radio once I have it hooked up. But I'll set this about halfway. Try to avoid as much feedback as I can, but that's a lot better, huh? It's like like a brand new, looks like a brand new microphone. None of that scratchiness, none of that horrible noise when you're going from RX to TX. Yeah, that scratchiness is gone now. It's like a new mic. Testing 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Testing microphone 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Testing 1 2 3 4 1. Testing 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Yeah, switching is nice and quiet now. Just like a normal microphone. Yeah, that's all it took. Just needed to be cleaned up a little bit. Yeah, this is working good now. Yeah, guys, that's all it takes. If you put it back together and then you see that it's still a little scratchy, you just gotta repeat the process again. Make sure you get everything nice and clean, work those buttons back and forth. It's almost like a set of points in an old distributor, or like on your old Harley. It's exactly the same type of button that you'll see in a points ignition system. It's the best analogy I can make. But yeah, you want to make sure that you get in between, like you can actually maybe like wedge something in between those contacts to open them up. Yeah, just keep working it back and forth, back and forth. You might find yourself doing it a few times, but you're better off doing that than taking like a little file or, sandpaper or whatever. You're going to regret it in the end, because, a month from now, especially if you don't use this on a daily basis, you're going to find that it's going to oxidize a lot quicker. Once you lose that coating on those, like I stated before, once you lose the coating on those little buttons, it's a never-ending process to keep those things clean. So yeah, that's basically it, and nice, easy video. Yeah, that's about it. That deoxit stuff, it is expensive. I think. But it lasts a while. Even myself, that little bottle, that little can, I've had that for about a year. So I forget how much they are. I want to say they're anywhere between, depending on the size you get, and depending on the deoxit, it's going to be like $15, all the way up to like $30. But shop around. I've never seen any, like knockoffs. That stuff is made in the United States, another reason to buy it. And it just works good. Listen, I'm not sponsored by deoxit at all, but it's just the truth. That stuff works better than anything else. So, that's about it, guys. All right, thanks for watching.